Giftedness. Problems and opportunities your brilliant child may face. 2-in-1 combo. Written by Angela Wayning. Narrated by Casey Wayman. Gifted child. Focusing on the strengths of gifted children and motivate them properly. Written by Angela Wayning. Narrated by Casey Wayman. Chapter 1. Why gifted children often have issues with staying focused. One of the most typical myths about gifted kids is that they are the bright-eyed, excited students in the class. They are the people that pay rapt attention to every word the instructor utters and love to do their homework. While this might be true of some gifted kids, it is far from typical gifted behavior. Truth be told, many gifted students behave in quite the opposite manner. They might be neglectful and usually don't do their homework, or they may do it and neglect to turn it in. Causes of negligence in gifted kids. In most cases, kids don't start out in school not concentrating in class. They quite likely come to kindergarten excited to learn and go on about what they already know. Sadly, what most of these kids get in kindergarten is info that they already know. For instance, a 5-year-old who is already reading at a 3rd grade level will need to endure lessons on the letter of the week. Even if they're not already reading or the information in the lesson is new to them, they learn faster than average kids. Typical kids really need 9 to 12 repetitions of a new principle in order to discover it. Bright kids really need 6 to 8 repeatings, but gifted children can learn new concepts after only 1 or more repeatings. Since most students in a classroom are typical students, classes have a tendency to be tailored towards their learning needs. This means, for instance, that even a gifted child starts kindergarten not knowing how to read. A full week spent on only one letter of the alphabet is unnecessary. The lesson can end up being frustrating and brain-numbing. Gifted children really need a lot of intellectual stimulation, and if they do not get it from their teachers, they will usually provide it for themselves. If lessons end up being mind-numbingly dull, a gifted child's mind will roam to more interesting ideas. In some cases, these kids seem like they are daydreaming. If the classroom has a window, they may be seen gazing out the window looking as though they wished they were outside playing. While that could be true, it is also rather very likely that the child is watching the birds and wondering how they can fly, or they may be taking a look at the leaves on a tree as they drop to the ground, just wondering what makes the leaves fall from the trees. Inattentiveness versus multitasking. Remarkably, gifted children can continue to follow what an instructor is saying so that when the instructor calls on a gifted kid who appears like he hasn't been concentrating, the child can answer the question with no issue. Having said that, it is also rather possible that a kid can become so engrossed in his own thoughts that he's essentially in another world and does not even hear the teacher, even when his name is called. To the instructor, the child looks as though he isn't interested in learning, but the opposite is generally true. The kid is really thinking about learning, but has already learned the material being discussed, and because of that isn't learning anything. Consequently, the child retreats to the wealthy inner life so typical of gifted kids. How to help gifted kids stay focused. Gifted children who are appropriately challenged rarely have some trouble focusing in class. Regrettably, it can be extremely tough to convince a teacher that the cause of a child's absence of attention in class is the outcome of too little difficulty rather than way too much. Educators who are not familiar with the needs of gifted students understand that children who are unable to comprehend an idea can ignore and daydream. They don't normally understand that gifted kids tune out because they do comprehend. The primary step in attempting to resolve this issue is to speak to the instructor.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?